All right, everybody, welcome back. In video two of the series, we're talking about thinking and problem solving and looking at some of the different ways that our brains attempt to solve problems. So here's that learning target again. Again, from the College Board, looking at how all of these different factors like cultural norms and our context, as well as our cognitive biases, affect the ways that we process information. Right. So in order to understand problems in problem solving, we first have to understand the two major categories through which we do solve problems: algorithms and heuristics. So, if you remember last time, we talked about trial and error. Uh, Trial and error is a rudimentary form of an algorithm, right? Working methodically through every single possible solution until we reach the one that works. It's great because it guarantees a solution eventually, but it does take a particularly long time, right? It's why computers are really good for algorithms because they can do them really fast. A heuristic, on the other hand, is a mental shortcut, right? It gets us to the solution a lot faster, but it can be error prone, and we'll see how that plays out. Now, a couple of other things our brains do. First of all, insights. Sometimes when we realize the solution to a problem when we're not thinking about it, but we have been thinking about it, and then it pops into our brain out of nowhere, seemingly, that's an insight, right? We also trust our intuition. When something fits a pattern that we know from experience, our gut might tell us to expect a particular outcome, right? And that is intuition. Now, like I said, cognitive biases come up for a number of different reasons, and let's take a look at how some of those play out. So, first of all, we have fixation. We can often get stuck on trying to solve a problem in only one particular way. We do need to be careful that we don't get fixated on a particular solution. Similar to that is functional fixedness, using an item only in the way that it's intended. So, using a paper clip only to clip papers together and not using it to, say, fish out a piece of jewelry that got stuck in the drain. Um, Related to that is the idea of mental set, having a set solution to a type of problem, right? So since it worked at one time in the past, we try to use it over and over and over again. So, for example, always thinking that you need to stay up until 1 in the morning to study for a test, even though there are better approaches and better ways to plan your studying. All right, so let's look at some of these problematic heuristics. First, we have confirmation bias, the idea that we're more likely to accept information that matches what we believe and filter out information that doesn't. Next up is the representative heuristic. This is when we judge things based on how closely they resemble a particular prototype. And I'm sure that you have had an example in your own life of where you were judged because of how you looked, because of your membership in a particular group, right? Oh, you're a young person. You must do X, Y, and Z. Did you see the latest TikTok? Right? That's representative heuristic. Uh, Availability heuristic is another version of this. Basically, we make judgments based on the most available information in our brain. So if you've seen a crime report on the news recently from our city, you're more likely to judge the city as dangerous because you have that example readily available in your brain, right? We are, as humans, prone to overconfidence. We tend to overestimate the strength of our own thinking, and we're prone to something called the self-serving bias, right? We judge ourselves in favorable ways. Our successes are due to our hard work and personal traits, and our failures are due to outside forces like the teacher giving an unfair test. Because of this, we're prone to something called belief perseverance. We continue believing something even after we get proof that our beliefs are inaccurate, right? And this can lead to cognitive dissonance. It's that uneasy feeling that you get when you try to hold two opposing beliefs at the same time. So, someone who's a big fitness enthusiast who decides one day to break down and eat a donut and has to hold those two conflicting ideas in their head at once, that they're a fit person who's eating a donut that they said they would never eat, right? And they have to kind of come to terms with that, or convincing yourself it's okay to cheat on a test, even though you see yourself as a person, an honest person with integrity, right? And then last but not least, we have the anchoring effect. Basically, judging everything based on the first piece of information that you get. So if you see a $500 pair of headphones, all of a sudden, a $200 pair is going to seem like a great bargain, even though it's still $200. So again, quick reminder, Our information comes to us from the College Board and the Myers textbook. Thanks all for your time.